Good morning, everyone. It's Sammy Ayo with SAA Services, LLC. Again, here with you all this morning on this beautiful morning, working with my honeybees again. So this hive right here, I installed a package in there a week ago today. A week ago this evening, as a matter of fact. When I put the package in there and I hung the queen from her queen cage, I forgot to take the cap off the queen cage so that the worker bees could eat the candy out of the queen cage and release her. I noticed this, I think it was Tuesday morning. So I got a little worried. I'm new at this, so I'm a new beekeeper. I'm a novice. So I got a little worried. So I've been told by guys who do this, people who do this, ladies also who've been doing this for years, that if you got a queen that's been in the cage with the bees for quite a while, and so you keep the queen caged in a little small cage. I've shown this in some of my previous videos, and the cage might be in here. If it is, I can't remember, but if it is, I'll show it to you in a minute. You keep the queen in the cage by herself in the hive so that the queen and the bees will get acclimated with one another. If you do not do that, if you put a new queen with a hive, in most cases, they don't know her, they'll kill her immediately. So the queen that came with the package, I hung her in a cage, in a hive, but I forgot to uncap it so they could eat the candy out and release her. I noticed this Tuesday evening. So Tuesday, when I realized this, I took a toothpick and tried to remove almost all the candy so that they could release her more quickly. Well, I came back, I think it was Wednesday, to check her again, and they almost had her released, but she wasn't quite out. So I decided to take and push all the candy out and go ahead and release her. That's what you do in many cases when the queen is, if you just put her in the cage without any candy, you just let her stay in there 3 or 4 days, 5 days, whatever, let everybody get acclimated, and you just uncap her and release her. Well, that's what I was attempting to do, and I was effective in releasing her. The problem was I didn't see where she went. I just looked in the cage again and she was gone. Well, I got kind of nervous. I called my buddy Jeff yesterday evening to tell him what was going on, and he asked me, well, how far from the hive was you? Were you above the hive? Were you 3 or 4 feet away from the hive? I said, no, I was like about maybe 8 or 10 inches above the hive, working with her right here, trying to get the candy out of there and release her into the hive. And he said, oh no, she probably went right in there. He said, that's her home now. So we're fixing to look into it and see. And I'm not going to look for the queen or nothing, but I just want to see how the hive is doing. They're very active, and I just want to see how the hive is doing. Also, Jeff told me one way to tell if the queen's in there or not without actually finding her is that when you open the hive up, or when you inspect the hive, if the bees seem very agitated, it's a good sign that the queen might not be in there, and they're agitated because they don't have a queen. And what I could do at that point is go get another frame of good brood, and put it in there, and it will make another queen. But I'm hoping for the best. I see a lot of pollen going in. I see a lot of activity. They seem to be happy. I'm standing right here, and I hadn't gotten stung, so they don't seem too agitated. So we're fixing to find out what's going on here as well as possible, and see how this goes. I am going to remove the queen excluder here in a few minutes, and I'll show you all how we go about that and explain the queen excluder to you also. So I'm gonna put on my protective gear here. I'm gonna put on my veil and my gloves. I usually work my bees with just a veil and denim shirt, and long denim pants, and my long gloves, beekeeping gloves. If you feel comfortable doing that, that's fine, but they do make full beekeeping suits, and I do have one. If you're not comfortable just working like this, I strongly recommend you use a beekeeping suit. I don't recommend you doing it this way. This is just the way I prefer doing it. I don't recommend any way. I'm just showing you how I prefer to do it. I'm more comfortable like this. So we're gonna open this hive up and see what we got going on in here. See if there's any abnormal agitation or anything abnormal going on in here that would lead us to believe that that queen is not in there. So we're going to go ahead and remove our lid, our top cover, and we're going to remove our ventilating cover. And as you see, we have a bunch of bees on here, so what I'm going to do here, just to keep them from getting damaged by the cover, I'm just going to knock them off right there on the floor, on the ground, and they'll go right back in the hive. But that keeps me from hurting them with the cover. And I don't see any abnormal agitation that Jeff was telling me to keep an eye out for. Everybody seems to be just like they were the other day. I'm going to go ahead and remove this queen cage. Again, this is your queen cage. And here is the cap for the queen cage. Let me show you all this again. So when you buy a package, the person you buy the package from, they got many beekeepers, male and female. But anyway, this is a little cage that the queen is in when you buy a package, okay? And it has a hole right there to put the queen in, and they stuff that hole with candy, and then they put a cap on it, like that. So when you install a package, you either wait a day or two, depending on what your person you bought a package from. You might wait a day or two to uncap her. But regardless, if you wait a day or two or immediately, you uncap her, and the worker bees will eat the candy out of that hole, which keeps her in there for a few more days. It usually takes about 2 or 3 days to eat. They got candy usually stuffed from here to here. It usually takes 2 or 3 days for those worker bees to eat that candy out of there. So you uncap her and let the worker bees eat the candy out. And in the meantime, again, the queen bee and all the worker bees are getting acclimated with one another and used to one another, and everybody's happy and friendly. So she's out. Hopefully she's in there. I don't see anything indicating that she's not. When I released her the day before yesterday, again, what I did was I pushed the candy out with this toothpick. Let me show you all this. I took and I was pushing the candy out of there with this toothpick, trying not to damage her and hurt her. I mean, if you're not careful, you can stick with this and kill her, and that's not good. But I just pushed the candy back in there until she was released. Well, I was standing probably about here when I did that. The problem was there was all these bees, they hanging around this queen cage because this is their queen. Well, I couldn't see very well. The next thing I know, I looked and she was gone. And I was like, uh-oh, where did she go? Because you want her to go down straight into that hive. Well, my buddy Jeff said, well, it's highly likely she went in that hive because she's been in there for, 5 or 6 days now. And this was her home. So he said, it's highly probable that she went into that hive. So I don't see anything indicating that she would not have. And we're gonna pray for the best. So I'm gonna set that over there for now. I'm gonna go ahead and cover this hive back up. Let me use my little bee brush and get them out the way so that I don't damage them with this cover. I need to bring this. I should have brought them some more food. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll feed them again tomorrow. It's a young new hive, and I'm trying to get them going good. I'm trying not to damage bees. Almost impossible. I got one there. They constantly in and out, and it's hard to fool with these bees without hurting one of them. Putting these covers on and off, moving the hives around. moving the boxes around, moving the frames around, but I try my best not to hurt any of them. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the hive to the side just for a moment, and I'm going to remove the queen excluder. Another mentor of mine, Miss Jennifer, loaned me this queen excluder, loaned me 3 of them as a matter of fact, and then this is the last one that I have to remove, and I'm going to return all this to her today. So I'm going to set this to the side real quick, real gentle, and remove this queen excluder, and I'll explain that in a moment. And I'm going to get these guys out the way. Let's move this entrance reducer out the way real quick. And again, trying to get bees out the way so I don't set the hive back on top of a bee and kill it, but it's almost impossible. You see how they're moving around? I mean, it's just almost impossible to do this without damaging the bee. But I'm going to try. I don't like doing it. I don't like damaging them. So I got my hive back in place. I'm going to put my entrance reducer in place. Again, this is an entrance reducer. I've shown this several times. You got a 1-inch side and you got a 4-inch side. Now you don't have to have an entrance reducer. Many people don't use them at all. I like to at least start the hive with them. What this does is, especially when you put a package in, if you're on your 1-inch side, when you throw a package in there, those bees are going everywhere. So I'm trying to keep almost all of them in the hive for several days, let them get used to their new home. After about 2 or 3 days, I switch it to the 4-inch side. And another thing an entrance reducer does is that it keeps other unwanted insects and parasites and stuff like hive beetles, wax moths. Those bees are protecting that hive. Well, this helps them do that because it reduces the entrance that the other stuff can come in and damage the hive. It helps the bees. They don't have as much to protect, okay, instead of the whole opening like that. So what I do now is I'm going to go to the 4-inch side, which is where I had it at already. And I'm going to leave this on here for quite a while. They have no problem coming in and out this 4-inch hole. They actually seem to enjoy it. Whoop, got me a bee. Sorry, girl. And here's our queen excluder. I've explained this in a few other videos, but I'm going to explain it again in this one. So, what your queen excluder does, I'm trying to get out the sun, as you can see. So these wires are close enough together where these little worker bees can come in and out of. But a mature queen cannot fit between these wires. A very small one might, but a mature one won't. So I put this in when I first start a hive so that when I release my queen, she don't just fly out the bottom of the hive like the rest of the bees are doing. She's trapped in there more or less. So, but after several days, I go ahead and remove this, and I'm going to take and knock these bees off of here like I did with the ventilating cover, and they'll all go back in there. And I will return this queen excluder to Miss Jennifer, along with the other 2 that I borrowed from her. And hopefully everything is fine. This hive is very active this morning. I saw pollen going in. According to Jeff, if the queen's not in there, it's highly likely that it'll be very agitated. They don't appear to be agitated to me. I didn't smoke them or anything. Nobody's attacked me. Everything seems to be good. I'm hoping because of the proximity of where the queen cage was at, the little queen cage was at, when she got out, and I didn't see it. I'm hoping due to the proximity, she went straight in there. And so that's what I wanted to show you all today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's informative. I hope if you're a new beekeeper like myself, which they call a newbie, if you're a new beekeeper like myself and you're trying to get started, I hope this was informative and hope that it helps you. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you do, please subscribe, like, and share, and spread the word for me. Thank you all, and you all have a blessed day.